This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning, and we take a look at the political pieces we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 29th of April 2020, and I am DM.
I'm Tom.
And I am JM. In case you missed the headlines this morning, here they are. In the Daily Nation, scared, stressed, and stuck with big bills.
Yeah.
In the Standard, speaking in tongues. And in the Star, KEMRI runs out of COVID testing kits. An interesting political headline. I think we begin with the Standard, speaking in tongues.
Absolutely, speaking in tongues. And Deputy President William RUTO has been using Bible messages and cryptic messages to get at none other than his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta. And allow me to read some of the stuff he's been writing on Twitter. It says, Psalms chapter 27, verse 1 to 4. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is a stronghold of my life. Whom shall I be afraid of? When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and foes, it is they who stumble and fall. Geez, that looks like a laced threat.
So it also tells us the DP's current state of mind. He's a persecuted man right now.
Yeah,
that's how it feels, and that's what's happening to him.
Yeah, but also allow me to read some of what his allies have also been writing as well. And this seems like a coordinated effort by his camp. Senator Majority Leader Kipchumba Murkomen, he says, as for my companion, he betrayed his friends. He broke his promises. His words are smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are as soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers. Give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. Psalms chapter 55, verse 20 to 22. You know, this is really getting at his boss. And you know what is going to happen?
They're encouraging each other.
They're encouraging each other. But I think what they don't understand is maybe your political adversary should never see you coming. Why am I saying this? You see, if William Ruto ascends to the presidency, you know, what will happen is that he will come with such vengeance to these people who are actually aggressing him. And what he doesn't realize is maybe the guys who are aggressing him may actually not allow him any chance at all to ascend to the presidency because they know what is coming. And he's letting his enemies know what is coming.
You know, Karl Marx said, religion is the opium of the masses. Yeah. And what does opium do? It intoxicates. And that is why religion as a political instrument is so effective, and William Ruto is using it. He's very clever for using it. For this reason, it distracts from the main argument, from the focus. You see, you attack him for being corrupt or for going against the president, and then he responds by saying, I don't know, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. So then we say amen, and we look at, our focus shifts from the matter at hand to his persecution and his victimization. So he's practicing the politics of persecution, and he's going to get a lot of support for that. I think he's already
the masses are fickle. The masses are completely fickle. This thing could go either way. But you see, there is this thing, guys, and I keep repeating the example of Kenneth Matiba, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. And these guys were far more popular than what William Ruto is right now. But the person who got power and defeated the system was a person who behaved like he just doesn't want power, and that was Mwai Kibaki. The only way to get this thing is behave like you really don't need it, and then when you get it, you consolidate. But now, I mean, by the time you're telling the masses, you know, as you rightly say, religion is the opium of the masses. But these masses at some point will forget. Let me tell you, hustlers are overrating yourselves. This thing, once the system says kaput, it is what it's going to be. It is what it is.
So what you're saying is that if he plays like Kibaki, Kibaki first ran in
1992.
In 1992.
Yeah.
And he became president in?
2002.
In his old age. So you're telling William Ruto to wait for
2027.
The deputy president and Murkomen should also remember that politics is a thief's game. That's what Shakespeare told us.
Yeah.
And those who stay in it long enough are invariably robbed.
But they also do the robbing.
Yeah, they also do the robbing. They rob from each other. Betrayal is a constant. So we have a 3-part criteria that we use to judge the headlines.
Yeah.
Are they topical or speculative, repetitive, groundbreaking, and finally thoughtful, or just plain lazy?
Yeah.
I think this is a serious contender. We put it in the parking bay.
Absolutely.
What's in the Nation?
So the Daily Nation is telling us that there's people who are scared, stressed, and stuck with big bills, and these are people who have been rounded up by the government as the government does contact tracing. So if they find that they find you and they have the information that you have been in contact with people who are infected, you will be taken to a facility for testing. Should you be found positive, you stay in the facility for treatment, and the government pays for it.
Yes.
And thereafter you go for quarantine. Should you be found negative, you go for quarantine for 14 days. So both scenarios end with quarantine. However, the person pays their own bill. So the Daily Nation is telling us that a majority of these people who have been rounded up and are in quarantine are poor. They cannot afford
even that 2,000 shillings a
yeah,
day.
they cannot afford the bills that they're being charged. In fact, the newspaper makes reference to a 22-year-old man who on Monday attempted to take his own life because he was slapped with a bill of 55,000, which he couldn't afford to pay. So it's a sobering story there. I mean, it
needs some serious intervention there as well.
Absolutely. It's quite unfair. These are things that are beyond everybody's control.
Absolutely.
But then you're caught in the middle of it and have to part with a huge amount of money, which you do not have. So
the other group of people who should also be on the front line in the medical fraternity, counselors. And I mean, you know, not necessarily psychologists or psychiatrists per se, but
people who can offer a certain kind of therapy.
Therapy mentally, because this is a tough time for anybody who's gotten caught up with this. And in the Star, KEMRI runs out of COVID testing kits, we're told. So the Kenya Medical Research Institute, which is a crucial agency at the center of screening, testing, and even trying to develop a vaccine for COVID-19, has run out of testing kits. They need 790 million shillings to restock on supplies, recruit some trained personnel for lab testing, vaccine development and diagnostics. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry, we're also told, has mobilized more than 2.1 billion shillings to fight the pandemic. That's basically it. And the government is negotiating for another 5 billion
from the World
Bank. Hopefully that comes in
very soon.
Very soon. So I think we give it to the Standard.
Absolutely.
Without question.
Without question.
That's our winning headline. And so onto the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. We have a 3-part criteria that we use as well. Are they humorous or dry, satirical or pessimistic, and finally effective or just plain lazy?
Cartoons, and that is I'm sorry.
The Daily Nation.
The Daily Nation.
So on the Daily Nation, we see a medic there who's busy working with test tubes, probably trying to find a cure for coronavirus, so actually just treating people. And he is in tattered clothing. Just showing the state of the protective gear that they have. And then overhead is a helicopter flying with a banner that says, God bless medics. And on the left there, you also see clapping, so people applauding.
That's a very unfair cartoon on the part of the armed forces. They shouldn't get any flack for waving, doing their part in celebrating. These are people who are encouraging people on the front line. The doctors.
In fact, the defense forces, these are warriors who protect us from physical harm, and medics are also warriors who are protecting us from this virus and treating us. And so this is from a group of soldiers to another.
Absolutely.
So I agree with you, Jem. It is unfair to
toss that one.
To give them flack.
All right.
Gado, you have a caricature of Donald Trump, and he is being advised by his people there, and
Dr. Fossey.
And the caption, what he's reading is U.S. COVID-19 death toll over 50,000 people. And what he's saying there is now African leaders want you charged at the ICC. Now, I don't know, Gado has something against Trump, and I don't know for what reason. But let me tell you.
You really don't know? You have no idea?
And I have
if
no
you
idea.
Rack your brain?
I have no idea. But the persons that must take the sword for this corona thing is a Chinese. You see, I mean, of course, Trump did not want 50,000 people to die in America. We did not want over 200,000 people to die globally from this disease. Someone must have created this thing to infect us and to slow the global economy. And there is absolutely no way the Chinese economy is up and everyone else is down, and they're not the ones who created this thing.
Be that as it may, in this cartoon, Gado is commenting about the response to COVID, not its origination.
Well,
and he's saying that this guy failed to protect his people or to respond early enough. And I think he's just now riddled with so much scandal about even right now the things that he is saying. He's telling people to drink bleach to rid themselves of corona.
Trump would be
and
president.
also in this cartoon, he's looking very calm, even as he's being given very alarming news. Yeah. But then
so between somebody who puts Hennessy in care packages and somebody who tells their people to drink bleach, who is crazy?
At least Sonko has some method.
My goodness.
He's giving people drinks to relax, not to relax during this hard time, not to
kill
themselves.
you. Yeah. Terrible. Okay.
Ozone.
Yes.
Ozone. You have a caricature of Eden Duale, who's a town MP, and he is drawn as a chef, and he's picking up what they call a cloche, I believe that's what it's called, from a dinner plate, and underneath the cloche is a card. And the card is a King of Hearts card, I believe. No,
yes.
King of Hearts
yes.
card, I believe. And on it is King William RUTO with a breastplate with a jubilee on it. And the R stands for RUTO, I believe, and U stands for Uhuru. And the caption there is restaurants not the only thing partially open. You see, this is with regard to what Duale said, I think yesterday over the weekend. He said that there is a secret card between Uhuru and RUTO to fix Raila Odinga. And a question I ask is, would it be secret? I mean, why is he saying it's a secret card? Like, and then he comes out to say it. You know, the mystic of it just disappears.
Duale may be right. Raila could be betrayed by Uhuru down the road.
Yeah. Who knows?
Will he be surprised? No.
No.
Will he be disappointed? Yes.
Absolutely.
So who do we give the winning cartoon?
Duale.
The star.
All right. Star has our winning cartoon.
Absolutely.
And so, what is our final thought?
And now our final thought. It is inspired by a book entitled Leaders Eat Last: Why Some Teams Pull Together and Others Don't, by Simon Sinek.
Yeah. So in this book, Sinek explores the influence that neurochemicals have on the way people feel and the way we consequently act. And it also looks at the discrepancies between how our bodies and our minds were originally designed to function and how they function now. And he asserts that we need true leaders to direct us back to the right path. He says being a leader is like being a parent, and that the company or the country is like a family to join. So our country, the president then is our father. What do you think to him? So our need for leadership and hierarchy, he says, which is very interesting, is rooted in biology. We are biologically predisposed to want or to yearn for leadership. And he says it's because hormones guide our behavior. For example, dopamine rewards us with happy excitement whenever we complete a task. Serotonin and oxytocin affect our social lives by helping us form relationships with other people. So in addition to helping us survive, hormone-driven behavior is also responsible for creating a system of hierarchy in society. For instance, back in the hunter-gatherer societies, a rush of endorphins is what would keep hunters going for kilometers upon kilometers to look for meat for the society. And then those that are left back home, who for some reason or the other could not join the hunt, are relegated to the less prestigious tasks of gathering fruits and herbs. So this distinction between the strong, the hunters who have gone out, and the weak was the first step on the path towards social hierarchy as we know it now. Yet, he says, while being responsible for these class distinctions, while hormones are responsible for the class distinctions that exist in society, hormones also add cohesion to these structures by giving weaker individuals serotonin or oxytocin, which gives them warm feelings towards not just one another, but also towards the leader. So that instead of having destructive feelings of jealousy, then our hormones also lead us to defer and accept leadership in society.
beautiful. He talks about belonging, removing the I, and he calls it from me to we. And his thesis here is why high-performing teams always succeed. And the equation here is remove I from the equation, and we, then you become successful. So he speaks of the Marines and why the Marine Corps is a very successful unit. Yeah. And that's because they go through these rituals of bonding for 13 grueling months. They become this unit and they go through the harshest of training regimes. But by the time they come out, they are ready to die for each other. And he gives two concepts here. One he calls the reason that happens. He calls it the circle of safety. Yeah. And it's a story of a lion and 4 oxen. And there's this lion that prowls the field and seeks to hunt the oxen. But every time it attempts that, the oxen puts their backs, to facing each other. And that's because the horns are facing the lion, and they form an impenetrable defense mechanism that the lion cannot be able to penetrate. But also he speaks of this group that we all know. It's a warrior group, and they call and they're known as the Spartans. And you see, he says this warrior group was feared for their strength. And it's not because of the sharpness of their spears or how they fight, but it's because of their shields. And allow me to read something he has written about the shields of the Spartans. It says, Spartans excuse without penalty the warrior who loses his helmet or breastplate in battle, but punish the loss of all citizenship rights to the man who discards his shield. And this is because the helmets and breastplates are to protect yourself. But you know what he says the shield is for? The shield is for the safety of the entire line. The line is protected for as long as the soldier has his shield. But for as long as he loses his shield in battle, then he's exposing the Commonwealth. And the protection of the Commonwealth is paramount.
Wow.
Another main takeaway from this book, he tells us, is that being a leader means putting others ahead of yourself in order to fulfill a vision. And he asks, the author asks of readers generally, on election day, when you go to the voting booth to vote for your country's leaders, what are some of the things that you consider? What sort of personal attributes do you look out for, and what makes them a leader and not a regular person like you? Now, I wonder what we would say in Kenya.
Tribe.
Tribe, absolutely. Tribe first. A lot of us go also in there with delusions, without a framework. And so we end up choosing leaders who really let us down. And he says a leader, first and foremost, should forge a vision for the future that the entire group feels inspired to fulfill. So it has to be a vision-bearing person and somebody with a correct judgment to then be able to know how to execute that vision. And he says, additionally, although every group member has individual goals, the group as a whole needs purpose in order to remain cohesive. And he gives an example of Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. His goal, he says, wasn't to earn billions of dollars or even to build a great company. His dream was to put a computer on every desk. And it's precisely that vision that ensures today that Microsoft doesn't lose itself in the abundance of profits, and they understand that their duty is to serve the people, the customers, the people they serve. So in sum, true leaders understand that their duty is to serve the people that follow them. And interesting, he got this, the title for this book from the US Marine Corps, where most senior members receive their meal last. This is neither an agreement nor an order, he says, but a statement. That, as the generals, as the commanders, you can't eat before your followers have eaten. A really good book here.
I don't think leaders here eat last. They eat first, they eat everything.
And they eat everything, and they leave crumbs, if at all. It's disappointing. So on a day that we had a winning headline from the Standard and a winning cartoon from the Star, do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are also on your TV screens. Find us on Parent Free to Air, Go TV, and Star Times. Have a good evening.